guys, thank you so much for joining us. My name's Catherine Mesmer, and I'm from UPMC Centers for Rehab Services. With me, I have Lynn Hubert, who is an occupational therapist at one of our Southside locations. Today on Taking Care of You series, we're going to talk about ADLs. So if you guys have any questions or you have any anything you want to know, Lynn is our lady. She's going to go through it all with us. Lynn, do you mind introducing yourself and sharing your screen? We can get started.
Happen. Just give me 1 second here.
Awesome. If you can't, it may be because I am in control, but
no, it was a problem on my end.
Oh, perfect.
Good morning, everyone. As Catherine said, I'm Lynn Huber. I'm an occupational therapist at Centers for Rehab Services. I have been an occupational therapist longer in my life now than I haven't. I started out as an occupational therapy assistant many years ago. Had to go back to school and got my bachelor's, and then a few years ago went back and got my doctorate in OT. So kind of gives you the background. I have spent most of my career working in the rehabilitation arena, both in inpatient and outpatient. So that gives you a little bit of my background. So without further ado, I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint here. Maybe. There we go. All right, so our title of today is Taking Control of You, Activities for Daily Living. I kind of wrote a few objectives. So first, I'm going to provide a little bit of an overview of occupational therapy. I'm going to describe basic activities of daily living. We're going to describe a little bit about the instrumental activities of daily living, and I'll tell you the difference between the two. I'm going to demonstrate some helpful equipment and then give you time for questions and give you my contact information. So first, occupational therapy. We are not like physical therapy. I don't find you a job. We look at all those things that occupy your day, the things that give your life meaning and help you to be you. Anything that is important to you, those are the things we work on. Today, we're going to talk about activities of daily living, and those are those things that are important to you. So activities of daily living. We hear ADLs and activities of daily living a lot, but what actually is that? ADLs are the activities that focus on taking care of one's own body, and they're completed routinely. And I think the routinely part is the part that we're really want to kind of focus on today. We kind of get into that routine of I have to take a shower, I have to get dressed, I have to do whatever, but how do we do those things and make it feel good? It's not just about getting through, it's about what am I choosing? So when we talk bathing and showering, that's not just only washing and getting dried, it's getting the stuff together too to bathe. Maybe you have a favorite fragrance. Maybe fragrances are healing you right now because of medications or sensitivities or whatever. You want to watch those things when you're showering. And by the way, all the things that I'm talking about today, the importance of self-care and activities of daily living, are important for both the cancer patient and the caregivers. Caregivers, I think, sometimes take a back seat because they're putting all their energy into caring, and it's really important for those of you who are caregivers that may be watching this or maybe participating today to realize that it's still important for you to have a routine for showering and bathing and taking care of yourself. Completing personal hygiene. And personal hygiene is everything from doing your hair to tweezing your eyebrows and shaving. It could be, having your nails done. Having somebody else do your hair. I feel so much better. My hair it's pretty thick and it takes a long time for me to do anything with it. But it feels so much better when I go to the salon. And it may be that that's the part of your ADLs that you're willing to give up to somebody else. Once every couple of weeks, you go and have somebody else do your hair just to make you feel a little bit better. With toileting and toilet hygiene, that's not just about evacuating your bowels or emptying your bladder. It's, can you manage your clothing? Do you need any specific tools to help with hygiene? And we'll talk about a few of those later. We'll talk about the safety of getting on and off the toilet. Then we kind of move into eating, swallowing, and feeding. Now that kind of looks like it's all should be all the same, right? It's not. Are there things that are difficult to now swallow, or you're having a difficult time with textures for eating? You may need to change that up a little bit, but don't just stop eating because it's hard. It might be that the feeding aspect of eating is difficult, and I'm going to show you a couple things to make cutting up your food a little bit easier. It may be that you need to look at the nutritional aspects of what you're eating to make sure that you're eating and getting in enough protein, enough things for healing. When we talk dressing, probably one of the things that OTs are best known for. Dressing is not only, okay, can I get my shirt over my head? It's, can I do fasteners? Can I do buttons? Are there things that are easier out there so that I can still wear my favorite shirt? I can still get on socks or stockings. I can still put on a tie. How do I do those things? And those are things that OTs are really good at being able to analyze any activity and kind of make it easier for you. So those are pretty individualized things, but we're going to talk a little bit today about, when you're getting dressed, is it that, what, I really want to wear my favorite shirt, but I don't think I can today? Is it that you can't figure out how to get it on? It's too difficult to get on? Or we just need to change how we do it, or maybe when you're doing it. When we talk mobility is not just about walking around the room. It's getting in and out of bed. It's getting in and out of the shower safely, getting on and off the toilet safely. Sometimes people will come into the clinic and tell me that they're not getting in and out of the shower because they don't have access to it, or they're afraid. So I have a few different tub seats that I'll show you that make they can be a game changer as far as being able to complete that mobility and shower. Okay? Sexual activity is also important as far as your ADLs. We're not going to get a whole lot into that today. That's a different topic in general. So when we talk instrumental activities of daily living, your instrumental activities are those things those activities that support life both at home and in the community. It can be anything from communication, and that's not just communication by verbally speaking, it could be writing. So that's one of the things that as an OT, I look at. If somebody's having a hard time writing, they may not be able to write with a pen that's this small, but if I give them something that's this big around, they can write a little bit easier. There are also 10 adaptations that I use with folks to help them be able to write a little bit better, because they want to be able to write their grocery list or keep a journal of what's going on. It may be communication as far as using a communication device. And those really come from the speech arena, but I may help with how do they access that? Do we need, is a finger going to work on that communication device, or do we need something like a stylus on the end of a pen? Finances are also something that, it's not a basic self-care, but you need to be able to do your finances in order to exist in the world. So I work on a lot of times helping people be able to, write out all the steps of a check. Are they remembering everything? What are we doing there? The big one next, driving and community mobility. When you feel lousy, you probably shouldn't be driving. So we have to rely on family. A lot of times people don't want to rely on family and friends all the time. There are community and public transportation options out there to get you back and forth to appointments, like access and things like that. But there's also, Uber and Lyft that have really kind of changed the landscape of how even some of my clients get to and from outpatient therapy. Family all of a sudden can't come today, but they still want to make their appointment, and they're not able to get access, so they may call Uber, and that's a different option. One of the other IADLs are caring for children. And sometimes when we aren't feeling so well or have a lot of other things going on, that piece of childcare still needs to happen. So those are some of the things that as an OT we can help with as far as being able to help you manage that, help you figure out how you're going to do it. Homemaking is one of the big ones. It may be that just getting up and moving and starting to do some homemaking things could be just somebody brings you the basket of laundry. Yeah, you don't feel well enough to get to the laundry room to get everything, but they can bring you the basket of dried clothes and you can help fold. You can sit at the kitchen table and try to prepare or do the work for meal preparation, which is our next. You may not have the endurance to do a full meal, but can you do things or help your caregiver to get things ready to make a meal that's going to last a couple of days, and then you can eat it another. Religious expression is also one of those IADLs. A lot of folks really rely on faith and have that mindfulness piece that really helps get them through the day. It doesn't have to be any organized religion. It just kind of gives you that calm that helps you to get through the day. And shopping, both as a leisure activity and as that important piece of getting your food for meal prep. I think one of the things that has been great about the pandemic is the emergence of order online, home delivery kind of things, because that has really, it's made people be able to get a lot healthier foods, a lot fresher foods, so they're not relying on the can of soup that's laden with a lot of sodium, or the boxed foods that are in their cupboard that have a lot of chemicals and not such great stuff. They can get fresh foods delivered, and they don't have to worry about being out and having the endurance to get through the grocery store. I can tell you firsthand that when you're feeling like garbage, or you have to use crutches or a walker. I was on crutches a few years ago for a knee injury, and I didn't care what was at the back of the grocery store. I didn't have the energy to get back there. So it's one of those things that you make those choices, but it's still really important to think about it and make good choices. And a lot of my references today are from the American Occupational Therapy Practice Framework. So stuff that I know, but I pulled so you had all the best evidence of what I wasn't missing anything. Let's put it that way. The next thing we're going to kind of talk about here quickly is health management. So health management is not considered one of your IADLs, but it is also so closely related that I didn't want to leave it out. One of the other things that as OTs we really kind of help focus on, and that being your social and emotional health. Especially, and Catherine and I were talking about it right before we jumped on here, with the pandemic, we have really all become very isolated from one another. I live alone, but was really happy that I had to go to work every day throughout this, because if I couldn't see other people on a daily basis, I would not have been in a good place. So I think that that's really important. You're not feeling well, but it's really important to still reach out to friends. And when friends say, call me if you need anything, most friends I know, I truly mean that when I tell my friends, call me if you need anything. You need to reach out to them. Don't always wait for them to reach out to you, is I guess what I'm going to say there.
Absolutely. I like that point, Lynn.
Yeah, being social and reaching out to your friends and saying, you know what, I'm having a crappy day today. Or as caregivers, you know what, I'm totally overwhelmed. Can you come help caregive for a while so I can go and take a half an hour to get my nails done, go have a beer with the guys, do whatever, but make sure that your social and emotional health are just as important in your health management as that next point of symptom and condition management. You are very in tune as to what your symptoms are and what you need to do to manage your diagnosis right now, or to help manage the diagnosis right now. But that social and emotional piece is also very important. You need to take time, and that's, I think, my real big thing about this. Having cancer or caring for someone with cancer is a life-consuming and always there in the forefront of your mind. But you need to look at the positives in every day. Hey, we made it through today, or I had the best dessert last night. That's what it's all about. you know what, I'm feeling kind of crappy today. I want to put on my favorite shirt so that that lifts my social and emotional health, to, you know, just feel better about yourself. Obviously, medication management is very important. You don't want to play with your medications. You want to let the doctors and the pharmacists do that. They're the pros. Let them do it. But I have helped people figure out figure out a way to remember how to take their medications. You know, we've come up with alarms on a smartphone. I have helped people fill out their pill, got them pill organizers that we put everything in so that they're not missing those things. Okay? Physical activity can be a game changer for folks. And I can tell you, I have people come in at least once to twice a week in our outpatient clinic that say, I really didn't want to come today, but I'm here. Well, good, you're here. You made that first step. And by the end of the session, they are feeling so much better. Their pain has gone down because we've got them moving, we've got them doing something and engaged. That's the big thing, is getting engaged in something. And that physical activity may be getting out of your bed and walking to the dining room and doing a jigsaw puzzle. It may be walking outside and watering your flowers. Just getting up and moving and doing something purposeful, something meaningful. Like I said before, occupation is those things that keep you engaged and are meaningful in your life. But trying to do a little bit is going to give you that boost to kind of get through the day. I'm not saying go out and run a marathon by any means.
So, Lynn, it's not necessarily exercise. Like, obviously, it is a form of exercise, but it's not like you have to go do a step class. It's like just doing something normally.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I really tell people on a daily basis. I work with a lot of folks with varying diagnoses, but most of my specialty is in the neuro population. So folks that have had a stroke or a spinal cord injury or whatever. And they'll be like, what exercises can I do at home to get my arm moving? You know what? Let's not do exercises, but let's try and put the laundry back in the cupboard. So that's really working on your arm, but it's where you're not spending, and I can remember, I can tell you that my dad was ill years ago, and he's like, I can't take time to do exercise throughout the day because then I'm never going to get anything done. You're right. But instead of worrying about exercise, let's worry about just that physical activity that's still going to get you moving. Put dishes out of the dishwasher. That's going to get your arms moving. Walking across the kitchen. Walking outside to do water your plants. It doesn't always have to be a very regimented exercise. That's not to say that exercise is bad. Some people want to do exercise, and that's fabulous. Some people want to sit down and you can do a chair yoga class. But just sometimes I don't really feel like doing that today, but I still want you up and moving. Some sort of physical activity is going to make you feel better. Which leads you to nutrition management. Now, I am not a nutritionist, but I can tell you that over the past couple of years, I have really tried to be a clean eater, meaning I really have tried to eliminate chemicals and processed things from my diet, and I feel 100% better when I am on target. The days that I eat kind of crappy foods, things with a lot of processed stuff, and not enough vegetables, not enough fruit, I don't feel as well. Knowing that you are trying to heal, protein is going to be really important in your diet. It doesn't always have to be protein from meat. But just watch, and if you're having problems with, weight and your nutrition management, talk to a nutritionist, talk to the dietitian. I'm sure there's one on your team. Okay, OTs can help you with that a little bit, but we are not the experts. We will help you as far as that meal planning to plan things that are nutritious and yummy, but I'm not going to tell you, oh, you need this much protein today and you need this many carbs. Not my bailiwick. Okay. Personal device management. Now, that just sounds kind of crazy, but that's anything from splints that you may need to wear, braces, eyeglasses, and contacts, a hearing aid, a prosthetic. All the things you still need to know. You need to watch. If you're using a wheelchair, you're using a cane or a walker. You need to look. Is the tip of my cane wearing off that I can now slide it across the floor and slip and fall because it doesn't have that gripper on it? Is the Are my glasses scratched that I need to worry about getting them to the eye doctor, whatever. So it's all those things that are going to happen throughout the day. Okay? The last part of health management is rest and sleep. Make sure, especially caregivers, make sure that you are taking time to rest too. I talked about physical activity being important, but getting enough rest, getting proper sleep is also important. Is it that you're sleeping throughout the day? And I know through the pandemic, a lot of people had, they're up all night, binge watching whatever, and then they're sleeping all day. And I can't sleep at night. Well, you can't sleep at night because you're sleeping all day. If you need to take a nap during the day, naps should be no more than like a half an hour. Okay? 2-hour naps are going to disrupt your sleep at night. If you don't sleep well at night, you don't feel as well the next day. But try and one of the things that I have really talked to people a lot about is turn off the TV half an hour before you're going to try and go to bed. I can tell you that I am horrible with that. I want that background noise. So I set a sleep timer on my TV that after 30 minutes, it shuts off. Once it shuts off, I will then fall asleep. Sometimes I'm so interested in what I'm watching that now I'm wide awake and it's midnight. So make sure that you're getting yourself, you're preparing yourself for your sleep and getting proper sleep. Looking at the position you're sleeping in. Are you having trouble? Are you in pain if you sleep on your right side? Do we need to look at positioning? And as an OT, I have helped many people figure out, okay, if I sleep on my right side and I'm like this, it's really uncomfortable on my shoulder. Well, if you pull your arm forward and kind of put it up forward under a pillow, it's much more comfortable. So it's just some of those things to think about. I think a lot of times we take, especially our ADLs and our, self-care, it's a routine, and you could, get showered and get dressed. There are some mornings I think I do get showered with my eyes closed and still have to sleep. But it's about being mindful about how we're doing this. I think that's the point of today, really thinking about taking care of yourself. Doing it, and it doesn't always have to be hard. Which leads me to my next point. We're going to talk about some helpful tools. Some of these you may have heard about, some you may not have, but I'm going to kind of list them first, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a demonstration. So the first one's a reacher. Best thing on earth for retrieving, for one, helping get dressed, but for retrieving anything that is too far out of your reach, or like in my clinic when I drop something under the table. Next is a sock aid. To help get, you don't have to bend down or bring your foot up to you always to get your socks on. Elastic laces can be wonderful in your shoes. Now shoes, you don't have to bend down to tie your shoes or worry about that. A lot of times after chemo, people have neuropathy and can't feel their fingertips. So tying their shoes is really difficult. Excuse me. I'll put elastic laces in their shoes so that once they're tied, they can stay tied. I'm having an allergy attack this morning, sorry. A back sponge, make reaching your back, reaching your legs a little bit easier. Tub seats, and we're going to talk about a variety of those in the next slide. A handheld shower can be a game changer when you're trying to help someone shower. A seat riser, and that is for on the toilet, so that getting up and down from the standard height toilet is a little easier. Grab bars in the bathroom, or grab bars throughout your house. A rocker knife, one of my favorite tools. Dyson, and I forgot to bring a piece of Dyson home from work, but I'll talk about that. So, bathroom items. This first tub seat here is more for someone who needs to take their wheelchair into the bathroom. You park the wheelchair here, slide across onto the seat, and then slide the whole way over. As you can see with this shower curtain, you can pull the shower curtain between, there's a little opening here. You pull the shower curtain over so that you're not getting water all over the bathroom. With it, what I will tend to tell people to do is get like a cheap shower curtain. A lot of people don't know this one, so that's why I'm making sure I point it out. Get a cheap shower curtain liner that's only a couple dollars, and cut out a little U from here to here, so that when you pull the shower curtain across, it goes over this part of the seat. That way, water's not getting into it.
I never would have thought of that. That's a good point.
Yeah,
Like,
there's lots of people
because
that
then it would bunch up and water would get out at that spot. Yeah,
so if you
that's a
cut
great
that
point, Lynn.
out, even if it's just the liner and then the other piece is out, you're still not getting water all over the top.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. This shower chair is just a regular shower chair. It fits the whole way in the tub, so it's basically just going to sit across here. It has a back, so a lot of times I will recommend that one just for somebody to hold on to the back when they're trying to get into the tub. The other thing about bathroom transfers, I teach people don't step over the edge of the tub. If you're weak, if you've got any balance problems, where do you think you're going to fall? Trying to pick your foot up over that, 12 inches to get into the tub. So I have people back up to the edge of the tub, sit down onto the seat first. So you're sitting on this part here, and then swing your legs into the tub. So that's one of the reasons I like the chair with the back, because you can hold on to the back as you sit down and then turn your feet into the tub. Now, that doesn't work if you have shower doors, because you're going to kick the doors. So that's a game changer there. Then we have to come up with something else. If you've got decent balance and don't have a problem, you can use a seat that doesn't have the back. Those are just a little bit too big. This one here, whoops. This over here is the over-the-top grab bar. Now, these are fabulous. They can be put on any tub. It opens up and it's just a hand crank to tighten it. The one thing that I do caution everybody about is don't over tighten it if you have a newer fiberglass tub, because you'll probably crack the fiberglass. But it's meant to be a stabilizing assist as you're stepping, as you're kind of pushing yourself up or down. You don't want to pull on it, but it's a good stabilizer. Oftentimes, just for those people who still want to step into the tub, that one can be really portable. So you can take it when you go visit your kids or your grandparents or whatever. So it's an on and off kind of thing. This next one is the seat riser. This is going to make your toilet a little bit higher. So if you've got a standard height toilet at home and you're having trouble getting up and down from it, a seat riser will fit over there and make life a lot easier. So you don't have to worry about, I can't get to the bathroom. That's part of, so I'm sitting all day and I've had people that, my family leaves for work and I'm home and it just takes too much effort to get on and off the toilet. So I wear Depends all day. Well, if you don't really want to do that. So getting a seat riser so you've got arms on it. And this is the one point here. This one, if you notice this little gray knob here, that as you tighten that clamps over the end of the bowl. You do not want to get one that just sits, I've seen them. They just sit on top of the toilet. They don't have the arms or anything on. They just sit on top of the toilet bowl. That's an accident waiting to happen, because there's nothing there to lock them. Even if they have that little lip, they're just not really safe. Get the one that has the locking on it. Okay? So it really kind of clamps to the edge of the toilet. If you have no trouble getting up and down from that height, sometimes you can just get a safety frame. Or if you have a toilet that's a little bit higher, you still may need those arms to push up because your legs just don't have the strength. This is easy to install. You take the toilet seat off, put the bracket down, put the toilet seat back down, and tighten it with lug nuts. No tools needed. Not lug nuts, wing nuts.
We knew what you meant.
But it can be a game changer for somebody to be able to use those handles to push up from the toilet. It's going to make life easier on both the client, the patient, and family. Handheld showers, everybody, those are, and a lot of these things you can get. You don't have to go to a special equipment supply place. This, I think I found on a Home Depot website. And I know that there are many people that have those in their showers. All right, so where can you find these items? Whoops, I'm going to back up here. I'm going to show you all my happy tools. First thing is a reacher. Okay, this is a standard reacher. Now they do make ones that are a little bit longer. I don't necessarily like the ones that are longer unless you're somebody that's really, really tall, because then you're kind of up here trying to use them to bring something closer to you. But if I want to pick something up, I can squeeze the handle, pick it up, and bring it closer to me. If it's something that's on the floor, I don't have to bend over and worry about getting lightheaded when I bend over. I can start that way. It also will help strap pants over your feet. So you grab the pants in here, bring them down to your feet, pull up to where you can reach them, set the reacher down, and then pull your pants next to it. So, lifesaver.
Now, Lynn, do you know, is there a weight limit? Like how heavy you could pick something up with a reacher?
There you go. That's a good question. I tend to tell people, and you can use this, I have had people use this to get things out of the kitchen. Now, if you're going to get anything out of the kitchen with this, part of the weight limit is not, there are ones that are collapsible. Those ones you really have to be careful if you pick up anything heavy, because they will come apart.
Okay.
When the more of the issue with picking up anything of weight or anything that is fragile, like I'm picking up a vase that's on my desk right now, I can hold that. I'd really want to be careful because I'm going to break my vase. But you want to be careful with anything glass because it can't slip. This is rubber on both ends. I usually tell people to get like the box of cereal out of the cupboard or the plastic glasses because they can bring them closer and not, if they fall, they fall. It's not a big deal. But I have people not get their china or
glassware. Okay. That's good to know.
Just because it can be a very dangerous situation.
Absolutely.
If your fingers slip off the handle, it slips off the edge, you're going to drop it. And then you're the yellow. The sock aid. I think this is one of the best inventions ever. Now, there are a couple different kinds of sock aid. So we have this one. I brought this one home, too, because I don't know if you can see. There's a little notch cut in here. This is for somebody who's really got weakness on one side and is really only using one hand to do it. So I'm going to show you how this works. What I'm going to do is I have a bright red sock to make it a little bit more visual. I'm hooking it in the corner of the socket, pulling it the whole way around, and then I can use one hand to pull the sock onto the socket, putting the heel of my sock onto the back. Okay. So now that it's the whole way on, and it's flat against the top, and I'm using just one hand here, you can see it really can be done with one hand. I'm going to drop it to the floor. I'm going to back up so you can see my feet. I'm going to drop it to the floor and pull the handle, and then pull it the way onto the and stop. The other one, the only difference here is with this one, there's no notch cut in it. You can use both hands. This little piece of foam kind of keeps the sock on there. On this one, this little notch keeps the sock still on the device as you're pulling it up your foot. This one, this little piece of foam kind of holds it in place until you get it on your foot. Now, they make an extra wide one if you're somebody that has really wide feet. This is going to be uncomfortable for you. They make one that's extra wide. And there's one that's made out of, it's really flexible. So some people like that one better. So, socket. Elastic laces are pretty self-explanatory. You put them in, they make, back in the 80s, early 90s, they had those ones that looked like little telephone cords. They were fashionable. You put them in, you never tied them. They just were elastic and they kind of hung out at the ends, and your shoes were never tied. There's a downside to teaching kids how to tie their shoes, but that's a story in itself. You can use those, or you can use regular lace. They look exactly like regular laces, except they're elastic. When I put them in somebody's shoes for them, I will tie them, leave them tied. I knot them so that they don't come untied. And then you just slide your foot in and out like a slip-on shoe. A lot of times people will say, oh, you need Velcro shoes because you can't tie your shoes anymore. No, because you still need to get down there to deal with the Velcro. With elastic laces, you can slide your foot in and out like a slip-on shoe. Okay. Tub seats and handheld showers we just went over. Seat risers we went over. Grab bars we went over. Or rock and sorry. bath sponge. So this is one that you can get out of a catalog. What I've done, and you don't have good shoulder motion that you can get like this to wash your back. I have taken these and adapted them for folks. I will keep them up with my heat gun and kind of bend it in a U shape. But then all they have to do is go like this, and they can wash their back, wash their legs a little. It's all about making life a little easier. Some of the other things that will make life easier that I didn't put on my list there. A long-handled shoe horn, and this one I got at IKEA. So you know that some of these things you can get other places other than equipment catalogs and medical supply places. Actually,
That's cool.
I'm finding just as cheap and with a quicker ship time on Amazon, which I hate to say that, but and I really don't like. I've had people that have gone on Amazon and found, oh, I found this splint and I bought it on Amazon. It's not really what you need. So I would still talk to your therapist, find out what piece of equipment is best for you before you just go to Amazon and start buying. This is called a dressing stick. It's got a little hook on the end to help bring things closer to you or to help pull up the zipper. I find this very too big to help pull up the zipper, but the hook will help push off your socks, or if somebody's got really a lot of limitations, I've used it for people to be able to hook to bring their jacket around their back to get dressed. They also have a lot of times zippers are difficult for people. So like I said, that little hook, there is a tool out there that has that hook just on the end. So you can use it in your hand to pull up the zipper. It's also got on the other end a loop to help do buttons. But again, that's something that it didn't show that because that's something that's a little bit more individualized. Okay? Probably my favorite thing. It's called a T-handled rocker knife. Okay? I forgot to bring my apple in. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to jump away. I've got my apple so I can show you how to cut it.
And while she's grabbing that, thank you so much for joining us. You missed the beginning part, so I apologize. My name is Catherine Mesmer, and that's Lynn Huber, and we're both from Centers for Rehab Services within UPMC. What's your first name?
I'm Chris.
You're Chris?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining, Chris. We have
Sure.
lots of great information. The nice thing, this is recorded, so you can see the beginning part. But after Lynn goes through her presentation, if you have any questions or you need anything from us, we're all ears for you. So thank you so much for joining. And
Great.
Lynn's back. Yay.
Sorry. I was all prepared this morning and I forgot to bring the apple in.
No, you're fine. Thank you.
I love this T-handle rocker knife. It's just very easy for a person to do things one-handed. Now I'm trying to do this up in the air, so it's a little bit harder. But I can do it. This way. Okay, so now that that's flat, you just kind of push down on the food and rock back and forth, and it will cut right through that. Okay? So I've had people use it for helping to chop up fruits and vegetables, or to slice their own food at the meat. I like that one a little bit better than the regular. There's a rocker knife that looks like a regular knife. It's just got this piece, this rocker on the end. You still have to hold that like a regular knife. I happen to like this one better for that meal prep kind of stuff. Right? Dyson is probably one of the best things on the planet. It will help to keep a jar from sliding as you're trying to open it. It helps hold a plate still so it doesn't slide across the table. It is absolutely wonderful. I think I have a picture of Dyson. Forgot to put it. But it comes in blue, red. That you can buy. But it's a very thin piece of, it's a plastic kind of material, but it's really great for non-stick stuff. I've taught people how to use it to help stabilize a jar while they're trying to use both hands to open It can be used for a lot of different things. The nice part about Dyson is it lasts for quite a while. Once it gets to the point that it's not so sticky, because it has a sticky feel to it, so it holds things together. But once it gets dusty and dirty, what you can do is just wipe it off with soap and water, let it air dry, and it's ready to be used again. Okay. Those are all my fun tools. Catherine, was there anything that you wanted, any tools that you know of that you wanted me to mention that I missed?
No, you did. I love the rocker knife. So I have a little background in OT. The rocker knife is fantastic. I mean, I think even if you don't need it, I think people should have it. It is just so useful. And the Dyson, you wouldn't believe what you would use it for unless you had a piece. I think a jar is great. Just even giving yourself an extra grip on anything. I mean, I know we use it to, like, in the clinic, we'll use it to stop steps from sliding,
right,
or grab bars, or you mentioned the jars. I just think, and it's fairly inexpensive, and you get a big thick roll of it, and you can get fun colors. So no, I think these are all super helpful tools. Like Lynn had mentioned, we were talking earlier before we started this, and my grandma's going to be 90 in December, and I'm like, Grandma, you need these things. I know you don't want to use them, but they make your everyday so much easier. So then you can go back to enjoying the things that you want to do instead of worrying about the things that you have to do. And that's what I really appreciate about all of our OTs across our clinics. You guys just really get people back to what they want to do.
That's such a great example of OT. It's not always the things you need to do, it's the things you want to do. But yeah, you also have to do the things you need to do in a day.
Correct.
One thing that I didn't realize that it had kind of fallen under my chair. This thing looks kind of crazy, but it's called a shoe funnel. What it does is it sits down in your shoe. It will fit down in your shoe like this. You set your shoe down onto the floor. It keeps you from stepping down on the back of your shoe.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
It's a little bit easier to use for some people than a shoehorn. Some people try and get the shoehorn back in the back of their shoe, but they've already stepped on the back of their shoe. So this worked pretty well. And then it's got this lovely little cord on it that once your foot is now down in your shoe, you just pull and it comes out. Mm-hmm. So that's just another fun little gadget that I have in the clinic that we use considerably. Okay,
that's awesome.
So where can you find all these things? Here's some suggestions. By no means is this an exhaustive list. Mercer County Rehab Supply. Now, Mercer County Rehab is a company that's up in Mercer. I like to, kind of tout them just because they're a local business. There are local businesses here in Pittsburgh, and by no means do I get a kickback from anybody, but I'm saying, where you can find these things. There are companies in the Pittsburgh area, Nan's Drug Store. There's a lot of different places that you can get some of these things. You can find them on Amazon. A lot of the bathroom equipment can be found at pharmacies, Rite Aid, things like that. You can get it at home improvement stores like Home Depot, Lowe's. Walmart sometimes has them. What you want to just watch for is that it's, a lot of them, especially when you're looking at tub seats, you need to watch the weight limit on them, things like that. And make sure that if you have to assemble it, that the screws are all together tight so that it's not going to come apart. Question time.
So so a big thing that you had mentioned, Lynn, is we just want to be you don't want to be wary, but like you just want to make sure that you get approval from your doctor before you buy anything that is like that you wear on your body, you would suggest, correct? So like a splint or right. I'm trying to think a brace or anything before you purchase, talk to your physician, correct?
Exactly. And even some of these, I've had people come in and they get a tub seat or they get a piece of equipment because they think that's what somebody needs. And I can tell you this happened in my own family. My aunt and uncle went and bought my gram a tub seat and something else, and it was not the one that she really needed. Did anybody think about asking me? That was quite the family discussion. But I think that you talk to, and if you have questions about something, You know, it doesn't take much to get an OT referral from most doctors. Your PCP can write you a referral. The oncologist can write you a referral. Get a referral to OT, and we can answer those questions. Even if you don't need a referral, or even if you don't want to come to therapy, you can always ask questions. I will give my contact information. You know, it may be that just asking a few questions will get you the right answer as to what equipment you may need. It may be that kind of gives us the heads up if I ask the right questions that maybe some OT intervention is needed at that point.
That's actually a great point, Lynn. Can you briefly describe like what your evaluation is? Do you ask questions about their activities of daily living to find out what materials or not materials, but what assistive devices they would need?
Absolutely, Catherine. Exactly. When I'm looking at someone's when I'm doing an occupational therapy evaluation on somebody, I'm looking at what's your home setup like? Who do you live with? Do you have help at home? Do you have to do everything by yourself? How do you do? And I go down through all of the ADLs, from getting a bra or an undergarment on, getting a shirt on, getting a jacket on, because those are two very different things. Getting something over your head is very different than getting it around your back. And I may need to teach you how to get that coat on that you can't reach to get around your back. I may need to teach you how to get it over your head, those kind of things. So we're going to look at all those things. I'm going to go down through a lot of those things that we just talked about. How are you doing in communication? How are you doing these things that you need to do or want to do in the day? I'm going to look at all those underlying components of what's your motion like in your arms? What's your strength like? What's your coordination like? I'm going to do a quick cognitive assessment. Can you follow directions? Are you having trouble with memory? Where are we with all those things? And then if somebody's having some cognitive difficulty, I may pick, if they need some equipment, it may lead me one way versus somebody who is, top notch, everything's going okay. I may need to teach them a different way. So it's not that you can't go out to Amazon and buy whatever you want to buy. It's just you might not be getting the thing that's most better.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Do you have any more slides by chance, Lynn? I wanted to show them our specialty site card. Oh, perfect. Awesome.
I have exactly my contact information. That is the address of our clinic, the phone number to our clinic, and then my email. If you send me an email, I can't promise that you will have a response back in 10 minutes, but I will promise to get back by the end of the day. If you email me, make sure that in the subject line you put Cancer Caring Network. That way I know where the question's coming from.
I was going to say, so after you share that, what I would like to do, if you can, Lynn, if you don't mind unsharing your screen, I just want to show you a quick, so we have, give me 2 seconds while I share my screen. Can you guys see this? Wait, let me, hold on 1 second.
Yes.
This, okay, awesome. So what, like Lynn mentioned, she is an occupational therapist. And so CRS, Chris, and for all of those people at home, CRS is outpatient OT, PT, and speech. So occupational therapy, physical therapy, and speech therapy. Lynn, like she mentioned, she works at our South, where is it?
I don't think it's on there because that's the hand therapy clinic.
Oh, you're right. Okay. So her clinic's not listed, but all of these are our OT clinics that we can send you guys to. That all of these are occupational therapists. They can help you with all of your ADLs, your eye ADLs, and anything that you have any questions for. So if you guys need anything from us, you can always give Lynn a call at the clinic and then ask for me or ask Lynn for the closest clinic to you, or you can visit our website.